morning, good afternoon from Singapore. I'm Chieh, the President of the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries, and I'm your host for today. Many congratulations. I'm delighted to be here to celebrate with you these very happy occasions. We have nearly 260 attendees registered, new qualifiers, fellows, and CERA, the Chartered Enterprise Risk Actuaries, your partners, friends, and families. A very warm welcome to all of you. We are joined by our very special guest, Mr. Patrick Poon, whom I will talk more about later, and he is slightly held up. He has not joined us yet, and that is the reason why we started a bit late just now. And of course, my colleagues at the IFoA, Stephen Mann, the CEO of the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries, and Clifford Friend, Director of Engagement and Learning at the IFoA. I'm very thankful that Amanda Devi organized the video of the new qualifiers, which I was so moved when I saw it last week. It reminded me of my qualification when I got my results in July 1984, 37 years ago. I remember that day so well when the envelope came through the post box. I was living in a flat in Surbiton, Surrey in the UK then. It was a beautiful day. Even the rubbish bin looked beautiful, and nothing could upset me for weeks. Like many of you today, it was a dream come true, a dream conceived years earlier, and I was totally absorbed in the pursuit of that dream. It was a long, hard, and arduous journey. Hence, it is especially sweet when we arrive. All of you arrived today, and no one can take this away from you. Congratulations and well done. I first heard of the word actuary when I was 14 years old. I was relatively good in mathematics during my school days, and my secondary teacher in Malaysia, Mr. Lau T, encouraged me to consider becoming an actuary. So I decided to be an actuary at that time. In 1977, there were only 3 actuaries who were working in Malaysia, and I went to see them, and Patrick Poon was one of them. My journey since 1984 has been full of progress, adventure, contribution, and of course, setbacks. But I would never regret the path I took. Fellowship of the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries is highly respected and a coveted qualification in the UK, in India, in Asia, in Europe, in the USA, and anywhere I go. I grew up in a very small village town in Malaysia called Semenge, and there were no electricity or running water in the first years of my life. I still could not believe that I am here today before you as the president of the IFoA. At that time, being an actuary appeared unreachable, let alone being on the council and being the president of the Institute and Faculty of Actuaries. It is indeed true that our dreams are possible if we pursue them with purpose, passion, and conviction. You have pursued your dream with purpose, passion, and conviction. Well done indeed. It is a tradition in new qualifier ceremonies that the sitting president not only offer congratulations, but share his or her perspectives on what he or she sees as important, some form of advice to new qualifiers. In past new qualifier ceremonies, I talked a bit about the history of our beloved profession and what makes IFoA actuaries special. The actuaries code, trust and integrity, and our ability to make commercial and business sense out of data. But today I want to talk about something different, about how special you are to qualify at this time. You are at the confluence of the IFoA's new strategy of repositioning the profession and the unprecedented challenges facing humanity. To qualify in 2020, and in 2021 is to qualify in the worst of time and also in the best of time. Before COVID-19, the IFoA was already working on the vision, skill sets, mindsets, and domains VSMD strategy to face up to two impulses of change. The first one being the digital and fourth industrial revolution, which will reconfigure and disrupt the way we work. And the second impulse of change, which is the rise of radical uncertainty and sustainability challenges. COVID-19 is the first globally felt VUCA, and VUCA stands for volatile, complex, and ambiguous uncertainty of our lifetime. COVID-19 accelerated the urgency of the second impulse of change. Humanity faces a perilous future. Climate risk, biodiversity loss, unfairness, health and income insecurity, and the list goes on. Here lies the opportunity for you. The way you respond to these challenges will define your generation of actuaries. Every crisis brings danger, but every crisis brings opportunity. We live in the worst of times. We live in the best of times. With your qualification and the new mindsets we are encouraging, you will do well. But it's not just about doing well for ourselves. We can also do good. So I encourage you to do well and also to do good. Stay inspired, believe, and make a difference. I now show you a short video which depicts this opportunity, which you are encouraged to grab not with one hand, but with both hands. Video, please.
Thank you, Chieh, for that introduction. My name is Stephen Mann, and I'm your CEO, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity to say a few words at the beginning of this ceremony. And one of the things that is fantastic is that we are hopefully all able to see you. So if you have the opportunity to unmute your videos or to put your videos on, it will just be great to see all of you here. So if that's okay, that would be just fantastic. So just to say a few words, I joined IFoA as your CEO at the beginning of January last year. Later that month, I had the privilege of attending a new qualifier event at Staple in London for the first time. That feels like a very, very long time ago for all the reasons we know, but it left a strong impression on me, the sense of pride, of achievement, being the culmination of years of study and the sense of anticipation as to where lives and careers might go next. I know how challenging your journey to qualification will have been. Although it may not have always felt like it at the time, IFoA has always been your friend and supporter, and I want to extend our friendship and support as you start the next stages of your careers. From an IFoA perspective, we aim to make your membership experience a truly valuable and fulfilling one. At this threshold moment, my commitment to you is to help translate and maintain the pride you feel today into a feeling that is a sustained and not a fleeting one. As Chieh said earlier, we have a major transformation exercise underway to shift members' perceptions of the IFoA so that everyone feels the way you do today at whatever stage they are in their careers. We have a good basis for this too, I think, in that being an IFoA member gives you a premium qualification and career benefits. But there's a lot more too. There's access to a vibrant community and a shared investment in the public interest, given the topics IFoA helps lead the profession in. As we aim to make your member experience a truly valuable and fulfilling one, please let me offer that we continue to hear from members that one of the most meaningful ways to do that is to continue to remain involved in and keep serving the actuarial profession. It is an apt time to reflect on the notion that to whom much is given, much is expected. And as we acknowledge your many gifts, talents, and efforts that have led you here today, we hope you will continue to share them with your professional organisation and your colleagues to enrich the profession and to help us successfully steward it to the next generation, so that new qualifiers in 20 to 30 years' time look back at your generation and thank you for what you did. This is for the future, perhaps, but for now, please accept my most heartfelt congratulations, as well as those offered on behalf of my executive colleagues on what you have achieved. We are proud of you, and we admire and celebrate your commitment to the actuarial profession. I would now like to introduce a short video from some of our newly qualifieds here today. Thank you.
Finally, I'm an actuary, and it's like a dream come true. It's been a long journey of 12 years, and in the end, it's all worth it. I'm extremely delighted to hold this in my hand and sharing my feelings with you all. I would like to thank to my parents and my husband, Akhil, for their constant support during this journey. I know it's the end of a student journey, but definitely a beginning of an actuary's journey. Cheers.
My name is Clifford Friend, and it's a great pleasure to be with you today at this first ever virtual new qualifier ceremony and have the opportunity of speaking not only to those online, but also to those that will be watching the video recording of today's event in catch-up mode. And I know that many of you who will be watching in catch-up mode, it will give you the opportunity for your families and supporters to celebrate further with you this very long journey that you've been on to qualification. In more normal times, as the IFoA's Director of Engagement and Learning, it is my honour to present each of you new qualifiers to the President by name so that he can individually congratulate you on your success and record this with a personal photograph. But unfortunately, the current global pandemic does not allow this. But it does give me the opportunity to share a few personal thoughts on your journey to qualification, the future that lies ahead for you, and maybe also to reflect on the fact that for many of you, the end of your path to qualification has been under very different circumstances to those at the start of your individual journey. But before I do this, I just want to offer my personal congratulations to you all, and also the congratulations of my colleagues at the IFoA who are responsible for qualifications. And that also does mean the examinations. And I'm sure that at times we have not been the most popular with you as you worked hard on your studies, or when you reached the end of an examination you found particularly challenging. But as Stephen Mann has said, be assured we have always been there for you, willing you on to succeed and to meet the standard required to formally join this great profession. And today we recognise and celebrate your success wherever you are in the world. We all know that the path to today's celebration has been tough, and the bar to qualification is high, and rightly so. You may be familiar with Groucho Marx's adage, "I don't care to belong to any club that will have me as a member." Well, I'm going to paraphrase this for today. Why would you want to be a member of a profession in which it's easy to qualify? Instead, you now join what I often call a boutique profession. And by boutique, I mean small, very special, and with high professional standards. And from today's qualifiers montages, the first of which you've just seen, we can all see how proud you are of the actuarial profession in general, and of course, your own success in qualifying. Many new qualifiers and their supporters are surprised to hear that there are only around 80,000 actuaries practicing globally. And just for comparison, Oxford Economics recently estimated that there were just over 300,000 professional accountants in the UK alone, let alone worldwide. So you are joining what might colloquially be called a small and perfectly formed global profession. You are also formally joining a profession which plays a very special role in underpinning key financial services which touch the everyday lives of millions of people across the globe. And that's a great and special responsibility which falls to you and your profession. During his presidential year in 2016-17, Colin Wilson spoke powerfully about this responsibility. Like many professionals, you've heard from the President, you are subject to an ethical code. However, in contrast to many other professionals, I can personally see how each of you are passionately committed to your responsibilities. But Colin went a little further, and his challenge stands to this day. It is not only to feel and deliver your professional responsibilities, but as another IFoA president, Jules Constantinou, said, to step out of the actuarial profession's shadows and shout more about all you do for the world. And Colin challenged all actuaries to do this in a way which resonates directly with those whose lives your work touches. So when asked what you do for a living, don't simply say you are an actuary, or work in financial services, or a modeler, or a financial mathematician, but proudly state something like, you ensure that people's future pensions are appropriately provided for, or that insurers have sufficient financial resources to meet people's insurance claims in times of personal crisis, or something similar, which relates to your own day-to-day work. Some of you will have completed your studies to qualification during the COVID pandemic. The President has briefly mentioned words from the English author Charles Dickens's novel, A Tale of Two Cities. And these allude to the challenges of recent times. Dickens says, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light, it was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope, it was the winter of despair. Recent circumstances have been truly unprecedented, and as Dickens's words allude to, a time of contrasting extremes. For the IFoA, on the one hand, we have lost the friendship of some of our members who succumbed to the virus. And we have shared the angst of those students studying with us whilst they were balancing family challenges, adjusting to working in unfamiliar environments, and like us all, feeling the general stress of the pandemic. On the other hand, for those here today who may have completed their last professional examinations during 2020, we managed to transform our educational offering to you. Who would have imagined in March 2020 that with 9 days planning, we would be able to respond to the increasing lockdown of countries across the globe by moving our centre-based examinations to online delivery, which has enabled some of you, and certainly many other candidates, to continue your studies towards qualification with as little disruption as possible, despite the pandemic. Nearly 50,000 online examinations have now been sat by candidates across the globe. And whilst we continue to improve these on each sitting to meet our members' expectations, we have been humbled, truly humbled, by the unprecedented feedback which has strongly supported all we are doing in developing online assessment. Our examiners have also clearly seen both the commitment of candidates to this new approach, and perhaps more importantly, how the integrity and standard of our examinations have been maintained through this change. So all of you can be assured that the standard of your newly won qualifications remains high, and of our total commitment to them remaining so into the future. In Dickens's words, for the IFoA, despite the worst of times, season of darkness, and winter of despair, in a strange sense, there has truly been a season of light and spring of hope, which has unexpectedly accelerated us to a best of times, offering our student members in future a more contemporary and member-centric route to qualification, preparing them even better for sustainable and successful careers. But for you who qualify today, you are at a junction in your professional lives. Gone is the focus on passing examinations and qualifications. You are now in the position to individually shape your professional futures. And what an amazing time to have such ownership over your careers, with exciting changes occurring in established domains of actuarial practice, as well as the emergence of new domains where actuarial skills have so much to offer. The President has spoken eloquently on many occasions, including today, about what the future offers you as newly qualified actuaries, as well as some of the challenges these might create for you. And we at the IFoA, as Stephen Mann has said, are here to support you as qualified members, to ensure you have the skills and competencies to continuously develop yourselves so that you can have successful and sustainable careers. In particular, we will support your habit of learning, working alongside your employers and other providers to ensure you can access the most contemporary career-long learning, which supports your current professional needs and your future aspirations. Some of this will be formal, and you will see a growing portfolio of career-long learning events and programs. You will also see the IFoA acting as a trusted portal, signposting you to other high-quality providers so that you can access the very best sources for your learning. Much of your professional future lies in your own hands, but we will be there with you, providing the learning you require during your professional journey. Now, it is customary at a qualifier ceremony to offer some advice. Others today, as you have heard, will offer this from an actuarial perspective, but I will do it from a wider professional viewpoint. For me personally, one of Dickens's springs of hope amongst the darkness of recent months has been the time I've had to revisit more deeply one of my great passions in life. 20th century opera, I'm afraid, and particularly the operas of the Moravian composer, Leos Janáček. And my advice to you today draws on some profound words from him. And I hope these resonate as strongly with you as they have always done with me. He says, grow out of your innermost selves. Never renounce your beliefs. Do not toil for recognition, but always do all you can so that the field allotted to you may prosper. After such profound words, I will say nothing more other than to wish you all successful careers, to encourage you to base these on a growth mindset underpinned by inquisitive career-long learning, and my hope that in better times we might have the opportunity to meet personally. My best wishes go to all of you, all those who have supported you through this long journey to qualification, and my thoughts are probably best captured, and my best wishes best captured by the old Celtic words. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall soft upon your fields until we meet again. And now it is my pleasure to hand our proceedings back to the President, who will introduce our honoured guest speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Clifford, for such a encouraging and inspiring speech, as well as to Stephen Mann, the CEO. Patrick, I would welcome you to switch on your video as well as I introduce you. Mr. Patrick Poon embarked on a career in life insurance industry in Hong Kong in 1972 and became the first Hong Kong-born citizen to obtain fellowship from the Institute of Actuaries of the United Kingdom 3 years later in 1975. He has fellowships of actuarial organizations in Australia, China, and Taiwan, and is an associate of the Society of Actuaries and a member of the American Academy of Actuaries. Patrick Poon graduated from the University of Hong Kong with Bachelor of Science Honours in Mathematics and Chemistry in 1970 and started his career as a civil servant. He joined AIA in 1972, and this culminated in the position of General Manager of AIA Hong Kong in 1987, some 15 years later. AIA has been and is the preeminent life insurer in Asia. It was during this stage of his career that he was posted to Malaysia, and I met him in 1977, 44 years ago, when I was a young schoolboy. He left AIA and became General Manager of Aetna Life Taiwan in 1987, and he stayed in that company for 13 years. From 2000 to 2011, he was the CEO of ING Antai Life Insurance, CEO of Greater China ING Insurance, and ultimately CEO and chairman of the Operations Committee of China Pacific Life Insurance Company before he retired from executive roles in 2011, 10 years ago. During his 40-year career, Dr. Poon has won many professional accolades, including the Hong Kong Outstanding Young Person Award in 1984, the Outstanding Manager Award CEO and President's category in 1988, the KT Lee Medal of Management in 1997, Order of Brilliant Star Medal in 1999, the Best Insurance Leadership Award, and the Personality of the Year Award at the Asia Insurance Industry Awards in 2000. Not only has Dr. Poon been an outstanding insurance executive, but he has been an incredible philanthropist, an active leader in community service, and a great advocate of the profession over many decades. He has authored several books on management, one of which is called Make a Difference, and that book has been translated to the Korean language. He has been the past president of the Actuarial Society of Malaysia, as well as the society in Hong Kong. Dr. Poon was conferred the Honorary University Fellow by the University of Hong Kong in 2011, and honorary degree of Doctor of Laws by Hong Kong Polytechnic University in 2013. He is also Charter President of the Rotary Club of Hong Kong Harbour. He has an extensive list of honors and awards reflecting his impressive giving back to society, education, and the actuarial profession. And one of the most notable one is the SBS Award, Silver Bauhinia Star Award, awarded by the Hong Kong government in 2018, 3 years ago, for Patrick's outstanding community service and philanthropy, especially to the higher education. At the IFoA, we are particularly honored and pleased that he is the chief philanthropist of the IFoA's China and East Asia and Southeast Asia Fund, underwriting 70% of a £500,000 fund. He's also the chief sponsor of the widely praised inaugural IFoA's Thought Leadership Program this year. I first met Patrick, as I said earlier, in his AIA office in Jalan Ampang in 1977, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. He was 30 years old, I was 17 then. He was one of the 3 actuaries working in Malaysia at that time. I can still recall distinctly the day I walked into his office. He was wearing a short sleeve white shirt, and there was a pile of computer printouts on his table. He was very understated, and he used 2 words which still ring in my ears: hard work and determination. And he told me if I apply efforts, I would succeed. And as they say, the rest is history. Today, Patrick spends his time chairing a family investment company, Harvest SCP Group Company Limited, golfing, playing mahjong, enjoying good food, and solving maths puzzle. He's also an owner of a media company, masterinsight.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Patrick Poon.
Many thanks, President Chieh, for your introduction. I think your introduction is longer than my speech. But I'm very honored to have the opportunity, a very once in a lifetime opportunity, to speak to my fellow actuaries in such an auspicious occasion. I'm not a good speaker, so the President may regret his invitation to speak to you, but I try. But first, let me join the President and the others to congratulate all of you for achieving this, perhaps the most important achievement in your life. Let me do it in the Chinese way. 恭喜恭喜. This Chinese gesture is an ancient one for centuries and generations, and it applies to all greetings. Thank you, congratulations, goodbye, etc. And we find that it is actually well tested in areas of, like today, pandemic. We avoid body contact in all this. So if you like, we can together practice this one and say congratulations to each one of you. Thank you. Congratulations. Now, the president at the Institute would like me to share some of my past experience, challenges, philosophy, etc. I'm a typical actuary who is not an actuary, or I'm a typical unactuary actuary. Very difficult to say that, but because perhaps the president didn't say, 3 months after my qualification in 1975, I stopped practicing as an actuary. I only signed 1 actuarial certificate. I hope I did not regret on it, because I know I'm not really a competent actuary. Qualifying in 3 years is fine, but I lack experience and judgment in the actuarial field at that time. But working in the life industry lifelong, I have, of course, get in touch with the actuarial profession through my colleagues, and also actuarial development is still my very much in my interest. My life career can be split up into 3 parts. The first part, working for AIA, a well-established, large, successful international Asian life insurance company. So I learned the traits of life insurance from a major insurer. Then after 15 years, I moved from, during this time, of course, I worked in Malaysia and Hong Kong. Actually, about half of the time. 3 years in Hong Kong, 7 years in Malaysia, and then back to Hong Kong for 4 years. Then I was given an opportunity to start a new company in Taiwan, but and got an offer from the biggest American insurance company at that time, Aetna. They have just got the first new license from the Taiwanese market when the market opens up to US entry at the time. So I was given an offer. I remember when it came to select the CEO for their startup operation, because the Chinese partner there laid down a condition that the CEO must be Chinese. Okay, so Aetna went to Hong Kong to seek talents, and eventually I was given the opportunity to work. So my second part of my career is starting from scratch, a life insurance company in a market totally unknown to me. At that time, I couldn't even speak the language. I did not speak Putonghua. I only speak Cantonese. So, but the reason for me to go is that, well, I worked for 15 years. I thought I have learned a lot, and I can build a company of my dreams. This is a wonderful opportunity. And I told my wife, even I fail, I can learn how to speak Putonghua, which is very useful eventually in a Chinese market. I think another 15 years there altogether. I thought I was quite successful starting a new company, making it one of the key players in the market. But my Putonghua standard is still very low. A lot of people could not understand when I speak Putonghua. Okay, But towards the last 5 years when I was in Taiwan, the company was sold to ING, a major European group. And I was appointed in the, because the acquisition of a Taiwan company is a major acquisition because it's a very big business. So I was given the position to be in a European board, the international board of ING. So I was given the opportunity to work. I used to work for American companies for a long time, then work for a European company. As you all know, it's a different culture. And I've learned a lot from the Europeans too. Then I retired and was given a very interesting opportunity to go to Shanghai, China, to help turn around a big life insurance company, and worked there for about 5 years, get it listed, get it profitable, get listed in the Hong Kong stock exchanges, and then retire again in 2011. So as an actuary, I think I have actually very lucky to have all the experience. Learn in a big, organized, established company, do and start up to build a company on my dreams, and then turn around in a big, huge company in China. I think I have a very interesting life. But it all starts because I was an actuary. At that time, was a rare, even now, it's sort of a boutique or rare profession, a mystery, yet respected and needed by the industry. Now, for me, of course, although most of my time is in management, but the professional training as an actuary has the greatest impact for my life. Our professional training in designing data and information systems, particularly for life events, building models for predictions of future, proposing financial and other solutions for our employer, and most importantly, communicating our proposals and decisions to the stakeholders. And because the stakeholders are mostly laymen, the technique of communication is very important for our profession. I was lucky. I always think that I was lucky. I was lucky to work for Hong Kong government for 2 years. And during that 2 years, my written and spoken English has improved a lot, which helps me, a Chinese with mathematical background, scientific sort of education, to improve my communication with people, and the ability to turn technical results, technical information understood by laymen is quite a challenge. And these skills, these actuarial skills, I think is still very relevant today. Yeah. Of course, our hallmark is business analysis and future predictions. Now, in my work, during my career, I found a lot of applications of these professional skills. So don't say that we only apply actuarial skills in actuarial field. It has a lot of applications in many areas, in business and in personal areas. And sometimes in a very surprising and pleasing way. For example, in mahjong games, I use my actuarial philosophy and training to make sure that I don't win every time. Because if you win every time, nobody will play with you in future. You will lose a lot of friends. And usually, no one plays with actuaries. They all think that you are really a top mathematician and you should win all these mental games. Indeed, in most of my life, a lot of people know that I'm a qualified actuary, but I always play down this. First, because I'm not a competent actuary. Second, I would like them to sort of connect with me on a level playing field. Actually, as a matter of fact, my motto, which is behind me, says that it's good to be fuzzy most of the time, not bright, calculative type of image. Now, that's the reason why after qualification, 3 months later, the company AIA offered me to go to Malaysia in 1975. I accepted the offer. At that time, as a newly qualified actuary, I have a lot of future, a lot of choice in employment, and Hong Kong was doing very well economically, and none of my colleagues are willing to move away, and I did accept that move to Malaysia, which to many people at that time was quite a foreign country. Still black and white television. Very few people have washing machines, and so on. But I was lucky. At least very lucky now, because then in 1977, I met President Chieh and ended up having this opportunity to speak to the fellows of the Institute and faculty of actuaries. This, I never dreamed that I can do that. Another application for actuarial techniques, which is simple, but to the layman it is quite wonderful, is that when I was in Taiwan and there was an earthquake in 1997, and I decided my company there donate a monthly allowance enough for food and education to all the earthquake orphans there until they graduate from university. And actually, because the two orphans still studying in master degree, we still support them from the Taiwan company. Now, the announcement was made 1 day after the earthquake, when the number of victims were unknown. And we were able to make that commitment, which people think, although timely, but similarly very expensive, but very innovative type of donation. Of course, I have some actuarial techniques behind to make sure that the financial estimates are okay. But the social impact of that decision was very huge. The reason why my company was so successful in Taiwan market is actually after this incident. Policyholders wrote in and say that they would support the company forever because it supports indirectly the victims, the orphans of the earthquake. Now, I was trained like you all and follow the IFoA motto of reason from experience to make predictions about the futures, principally based on past data. I also had a habit of analyzing impacts of human events and then thought of various likely impacts. Say, what if I later say something different? Would there be different outcome for the organization? What shall happen to us when something happens in other countries, repeat in our country? This type of habit helps me to be ready for sometimes accidental events. The often donation I made had been in my mind when the Kyoto earthquake of Japan took place in 1995, 4 years before the Taiwan earthquake. At that time, I read the news about banks refusing to let victims to take money from their accounts because they cannot show their account book. Looks funny, but it happens because the bureaucratic need to have evidence of your account existence. But that doesn't work in an earthquake like this. So the present pandemic shows us that a lot of governments have not much preparation on such event. I also learned that public relations is very important to influence, to help we go on. So I always urge to own a media company. And I did that through my charitable foundation and set up a media company in Hong Kong that collects balanced opinions from opinion leaders and publish them online. This is a very successful because it offers a fresh, present public channel when most media were seen to publish sensational and partisan views in order to capture readership or audience. But we do not, and yet we are very successful. And one of the lessons I learned in life is how to manage a team of people to do a task. I can always give you some advice. I give you some advice. There's just 3 areas we must do. 1, make sure we focus on mission. That means, as far as possible, avoid amending objectives because frequent amending, you lose sight of what was actually to be done. Second is building teams, team building. But team building, the important area is to get mutual trust from each member of the team. And as member of our team, we must be willing to sacrifice and be generous. And when there's mutual trust, we can do the task successfully. And the number 3 area is, as leader of a team, you have to inspire excellence. You have listened to 2 very inspiring speeches already, but this is very important in your future because whatever it is, whatever things must be done is always through a team. Now, finally, I'd like to share with you my definition of success. Everybody defines success differently at different stages of their life. You will experience it in future. But my current one is, I will let everyone who meets me feels that he or she was very lucky to meet me. That means I would like to offer my hands and open my heart to help my acquaintances when they are in need. My resources are limited, but my network in society, my outdated actuarial skills, my management and leadership skills, I know may be able to help them in sometimes very surprising circumstances. This new definition of my success rise from my conviction that all my past successes and opportunities were achieved because there were people I know, people I don't know, that deliberately or accidentally give me the opportunities for success or supporting me. The luck many people attribute to success is always actually from people rather than other things. So when the president talked about hardworking and committed, there's only a necessary factor. The luck factor of success is actually there are people that are giving me opportunities, giving us opportunities or support that we don't know. That's the reason why I started my philanthropic work well before my retirement. I understand that people has helped me a lot in my past, and it's my turn now to help them. We owe our existence to our parents. We know their abilities from teachers, mentors, and also the professional societies we belong and the community at large. So making repayments is actually always necessary. And you would produce a positive influence and help human beings to progress. I hope each one of us can spare our resources at each stages of our life, whether it's time, whether it's energy, whether it is a network of connections, or simply just finance. I'm always remember one of the words that was quoted by one of the past president of the Institute on Francis Bacon's statement. We are all debtors to our profession. So the donation to the industry and faculty is just that it's always in my mind, and I was happy that President Chieh gave me the opportunity. For you, the newly qualifiers of IFoA, you are now at the height of your professional ability up to now. You have high confidence, you have the youth and energy, and you are actually the most updated on our professional knowledge and skills. When I qualified in 1975, I had the same feeling. I wrote papers, I discovered new mathematical formulas for the profession. I know I'm good. But different from 1975, in today, 2011, I hope your generation should now lead the future of our profession. Now, of course, challenges are different time, because times, just like the Dickens quote, this is the best of times, this is also the worst of times. But we cannot choose the time ourselves. This time is given to us. It is given, and we must look for leadership. And we must look for leadership among ourselves, particularly the young generation, which is the future of human beings. And I know all you should be impatient and ready to take action. And it is the is the time that you participate in helping the profession to go forward. I think the President's organization of the Thought Leadership Program is indeed a very timely one. And I hope our young members participate more in it, because you know the digital age better than us. I need my grandchildren to teach me how to operate the cell phone, enjoy all the functions there. And really, the digital age belongs to you. And we are very eager for your insight and action. Hope we can meet in person next time. And thank you for your patience. And congratulations again. 恭喜恭喜. Okay.
Okay. Firstly, I must thank you for such a engaging, thoughtful, and encouraging personal speech. Yeah. So qualifiers and guests and friends, we do have a bit of time, about 20, maybe 20 minutes. So if you have questions you would like me to, ask, you can type on the chat. And actually, if you put your name there, I'm not sure we can unmute you and you could actually say the question. Type it on your chat. Yeah, I got a couple of questions I would like to ask Patrick.
Yes.
But I wanted to explain a bit of a background. Yeah, so I met him I recall about 76, 77. I was in Malaysia then, but I never met him again because he was from Hong Kong. By the time I came back to Malaysia, he has gone back to Hong Kong. We met once in about 2010 or 2011 when he was in Kuala Lumpur. And it was only after I became the president that we had a dinner in Hong Kong. And then he attended a webinar in Malaysia, and I asked him to share a few words. And he talked about trust, and also he talked about trying to help people and his philanthropic causes. And I reflected on that. And about a week later, I contacted him, and he was very quick to say that he would be very happy to support, because I knew there are many Asian students in our university who couldn't afford the fees, you see, the student fees. So we are very pleased that he started the ball rolling. So that was the background. So if you can type your questions into the chat, I believe you can do so. But I wanted to ask Patrick a couple of questions to start with. I'm curious about your books. I'm curious about your being fuzzy, But maybe I could start something which probably would be quite useful for people here, right? You told me, I still remember the word determination. I somehow remember those two words when I went to your room 40 years ago. But if you are going to start your actual career today, what would your advice be to your younger self? Yeah? What would your advice be to your younger self?
Okay, definitely to be humble, because although we got the qualification, we begin to have responsibility, and then you realize that you have learned not enough. So you have to learn from all others, but you should have the courage to try new things and to make decisions. In my life, long sort of experience, I always think that decision is work. A lot of times, we work hard, but we are not making any decisions. There's not work. Work is a decision-making process. So we have to learn, try, think a lot, and prepare ourselves. And not necessarily just on the actuarial professional skills, but on all human knowledge. For example, when I determined to play good golf game, I practically bought all the available golf books from the bookstore and learn all the language inside, but I still cannot play well, but doesn't matter. I enjoy. And I think the determination is always my habit.
Okay, I want to sort of draw it a bit because I can see where you're getting at. I'm partly because it's an international audience, be quite good because you use a very interesting phrase. You see, decision is work, as opposed to going to work. Going to work is doing calculations, producing reports. Those are work, but it's a different kind of work. Yeah, it's a different kind of work. Yeah, it's a more routine process work. But you are saying actually the important thing is decision is work. And then you related two things which I find very curious, you see. You related to golf and just now you related to mahjong, right? And then you use a phrase, being fuzzy most of the time. And I think, could you unpack that? Because I think in my view, you are saying that it is obviously it is very obvious you work hard, because I remember a talk you gave to a small group of us, but that was, I think most people work hard in that sense, but you are trying to narrow down about making decision or a judgment and then dwelling into it, because you know the golf thing and the mahjong thing. Can you unpack that for us? Because I'm trying to relate it. Maybe the profession has gone too much into doing of things, but not making decision in a courageous way.
Yes, exactly, President.
In a good courageous and a good imaginative. So everybody is doing their work and everybody is attending meetings, but we need to make some decision if things are wrong or call it out. So can you, because I think you are in that direction, can you unpack this a bit for us?
Okay. Yeah, I can explain in Chinese better. But let me see. Now, we Chinese think that working hard is a necessary condition. It's nothing to be proud of. Okay? Now, what makes achievements, you see, is you make decision in the right direction, or you make decision not to go to another direction. Now, this is actually work, because that will produce results. Just purely working on established way, yes, you produce some results, but those results do not improve you. Okay, if you, basically I'm asking people to find innovative way on everything, even things you have done yesterday. Today, you try to do it in a different way. Now, when I say about the fuzzy area, is I want to lower myself, not behaving like a very smart, very competent type of image, because then you cannot really communicate to most people. Most people would like you to speak in layman language. Most people would like you to be not like high IQ person. Seems to be higher mentally than others. I try to actually let people accept me as one of their own. We are doing it together, okay? And we are making the decision together.
Okay, I have a look at the chat. So there's no one. I'm going to maybe talk about why I found this so interesting. The fuzzy, and then the point about hard work is not hard work. It's not decisive. It doesn't make a difference.
Right.
And I share this with my younger colleagues. And it is also at the heart of our strategy, right? At the heart of our strategy. So there is this president called Frank Reddington, and most actuaries will agree that he's the greatest actuary in the last 100 years. Yeah, his name is Frank Reddington, and when he accepted his gold medal in 1968, he says that actuaries have no vices, but we have besetting virtues, which are accuracy, cautiousness, consistency, and reticence. But if you do not have enough room for imagination and impulse, those virtues will weigh us down. and as a profession, we will not thrive. And then he ended up by saying, the actuary who's only an actuary is not an actuary. This is extremely important because just now, Patrick quoted that he used the word innovation, because in the world of digital, being accurate and cautious is not very helpful, because you've got to be curious, adaptable, and be experimental. And then the other issue is about the big issues of our time. We cannot just be accurate on our models if our models are not modeling the real world, right? Not that I know what the real world, how to model it, but I'm saying that you must be able to question it. But questioning it doesn't mean you got answer. Then the fuzziness comes in, because he used the word humility and doing together, because one of the biggest issues is not about giving answers. One of the biggest thing we have to learn as actuaries, and most of the systems problem, is to how you listen to everybody to create an aggregate answer. So that is very, for me, we didn't rehearse this, but I thought it was coming from a very different perspective. So there is, so that's very rich.
Thank you, President. I use the word communication a lot because I realize that whatever we do, we must communicate actually to people in a way that they understand. It's not easy just to write a paper. You have to write a paper that people can understand.
It is, and also we must be able to listen to them, so they feel heard.
Right.
And here, it's something which I'm not very good at, which I'm learning, because I know that most of the answers come out from mutual engagement. Yeah. And sometimes we are too identified with our own objectives, and that could be a problem. So there is a rich place to look. Anyone wants to have questions, please raise your hand or put it in the chat. But otherwise, I think I have time to ask for. But okay, you mentioned about decision, right? Maybe you could share with us either a decision you made which was really decisive in your career, or a decision which you could have made otherwise. Yeah, maybe you should have made one of your most interesting decision which we could learn from. Yeah, is there something which comes to mind?
Well, really, not immediately, but I feel I always had the habit that when I make a decision, I'm a bit of regret on that the decision is made, because maybe there are even better ones. But on the other hand, I feel I have done my job if I have taken account into all available factors at this moment. Even if I was wrong, proven wrong later, I don't regret it. We must all have this type of thing, this type of readiness in dealing with problems. Otherwise, we will forever delaying making decisions. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I got a question from Rahul. Rahul, in a professional career, one face up and downs. How did you overcome? What is the lesson you learned, if you may share, while overcoming during such tough times?
Sorry, okay.
Okay, Rahul Jain is asking,
Yes.
in our life, we face up and downs. It's actually on the chat. I think you can get access to. How do you overcome your downs, and what are the what are the lessons you learn? If you may share.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will answer in a roundabout way. I teach my employees, my fellow colleagues, when they meet a failure or something they realize as a mistake, you should realize this is an opportunity to show your real self. Whether you admit the mistake and then analyze it and then try to find opportunities to either rectify the mistake or you find another opportunity to compensate, to get more to compensate for this mistake. So this particularly in my training of the service center employees, for example. You see, the service center staff always meets the customer complaints and tough customers to deal with. And I always tell them, this is not your fault. You should feel lucky rather than unlucky when you meet such a customer, a tough customer. This is the real special time for you to demonstrate you really have the ability. Okay, when we meet a tough thing, when we meet a mistake, it's actually a good opportunity to show yourself whether you have the ability to deal with the situation. Yeah. And the company will reward you for that. Even you did not handle the customer well because you're not so well prepared, treat it as a lesson, treat it as an opportunity for future progress. So I always have, of course, some business failures or people misunderstand me, and I even have media sort of saying that public image problem for me, and saying that we did all this because for personal reasons rather than for business reasons and things like that. I remember one time in the magazine in Taiwan, I wrote something nasty about my new company. So what I did, I invited the writer and his editor for lunch. And they thought I would make a lot of complaints or whatever to them. Instead, I gave them a lunch and didn't mention the occasion at all, didn't mention the article. I praised about the magazine being very good, and I solved the problem. Eventually, he understands why we did this and that, and they finally became our friends rather than enemies. So I think this is one way to deal with a crisis.
I echo Dr. Poon's advice. It's shortcomings, failures. What doesn't kill you can only make you stronger. So failure is a point of learning and reinvention and recovery. But I think you sometimes don't have to rush it. You got to accept that you are in that space. And in fact, it was in this webinar that we met in KL earlier this year. It was I was quite open about discussing some of my setbacks in my life. Yeah, but there is another question which I think we can take as a last question, which I think is about teamwork. It's about teamwork. It says that thank you for insightful speech, Mr. Poon. You mentioned one of the lessons in life was how to manage people. Could you give an example of a team you managed that you think worked very well, and what do you do to get a team to do to that successful stage? Yeah.
Okay. Perhaps it is in. Perhaps I can quote an example which is a big challenge to me, because it's in one of the teams that I'm required to participate in one of the management competitions at ING. When we have all the top leaders of ING together, we are separated in teams, and then we are given a problem to solve, and all of us from different countries, different culture, and even different positions. Some are professionals, some are managers, some are really unrelated to our financial side too, and how to really work as a team. I think when you are a member of a team but not the leader, of course, as a leader, it's easy. you organize people, but as a member, I think the easiest thing to, as I mentioned, is to build mutual trust among your team members. That is the first condition. You must have all the members have mutual trust for each other. You don't second guess the other member. Then you can work as a team. And how to do that? Each one of the members should be prepared to make sacrifices, for example. Sacrifice of your time, sacrifice your current work commitments, sacrifice even your image. If you have that attitude, you gain trust from other people.
Thanks very much, Patrick. It has been very worthwhile, in my view, very enjoyable, engaging, meaningful, and thoughtful, and full of material for reflection. Members of the audience and also your family, Patrick will be speaking again on the 28th of June and UK time about 8:30 a.m. And he'll be in conversation with a colleague of mine, Katina Tahir Thompson, who's the chair of IFoA Foundation, and myself, partly to talk about his career and also his philanthropy, and also in recognition of his very considerable sponsorship of the Thought Leadership Program, and it's free for everyone to register. So with that, so Patrick, I know you are very busy, so thank you for turning up today. I think I speak on behalf of all of us. Thank you for your time and your support, and also for your contribution to the China and Southeast Asia Fund, which I know means a lot to our staff and to our students, of course, students to be. So thank you for that. So with that, I would now, I believe I am asking the people who are in charge of this to turn on the next video, which is the new qualifier testimonial video number 2.
They say that good things do not come easy. That statement resonates so well with my qualification journey. Through my long qualification journey, I learned a number of lessons, but 2 that stand out are: number 1, that hard work and patience pays off. Number 2, that failing does not mean that you are not good. It may only mean that that's not the right opportunity for you. From my own experience, I failed my fellowship exam in October 2018 when I wrote it for the first time. When I took it for the second time in April 2019, I received the Worship Company of Actuaries prize. What a humbling experience it was. To my fellow qualifiers, I wish you a fulfilling journey as you provide meaningful solutions to the different areas that you work in. I hope and believe that we'll continue upholding the quality standards of our beautiful profession. Thank you.
To me, qualifying as an actuary means joining a really special group of smart, hardworking, and brilliant people. Passing the exams is not easy. We have all put in so much time and effort and energy to get where we are now, and we deserve to celebrate.
I believe this is the closing ceremony, and I would ask all of you to on your video so we could take some screenshots. Yeah, you can go to gallery and put on screenshots. All of you put on your video, and you can put under gallery view. Then we could see everybody. So if you were in Staple Inn, you know the champagne glasses will be coming out. Yeah, but we are, and it might be a bit too early for some of you here. So I was, okay, I'm actually scrolling down the gallery to see all your happy faces. I can see Laura, I can see Michael Wong, Mega Hart, Diana, Smriti, Miko, all of you. It's wonderful. I'm going to draw it to a close. And the video clip, which you just saw, made me rewrite my speech earlier this morning or yesterday. Because it's really reminded me how it felt 30, 40 years ago. But of course, I can intellectually remember. But when I saw the way you spoke, it really moved me. And I told Stephen that, and I told Amanda that, and Clifford, I said that we should show it to the council members this Thursday, because I'm sure they'll touch them, right? How much it meant to us, right? So I want to thank Rosie Shaw, Gemma Smith, and our very focused and dedicated Amanda Devi, the head of events, for organizing this magnificent event, right? We had a slight delay, partly because Patrick was detained elsewhere and he was slightly late, but we were calm throughout and we landed quite well in my view. And I also obviously want to say thank you to our very special guest, Mr. Patrick Poon, for his support, advice, and taking time to join us. And of course, to the families, to the partners, to the friends of the qualifiers, thank you for joining us, and congratulations to all of you as well. And of course, to my good colleagues, Stephen and Clifford, who helped to anchor this event, and for giving inspirational messages to actuaries of the future. For the qualifiers, I have only two more things to say. Today marks the end of examinations, but let it also mark the beginning of lifelong learning. Do embrace this notion with all your heart, because that is your ultimate springboard for the future. And the second message is what Patrick and Clifford, and as well as Stephen said, we are all debtors to our profession. I look up to the IFoA and its professionalism. The way you spoke about us, look at your testimony, its prestige and its reputation. From today onwards, you are no longer looking up to the IFoA. You are the IFoA. You are our prestige and our reputation. Young students will be looking up to you because you are the IFoA. Make it count. So whatever your endeavor you choose, do it in a manner which bring credit to your profession. Make a difference. So with that, I thank all of you for joining. And I believe we will have a video to play as we end. And I hope to see the organizer in a Zoom meeting later for a quick debrief. Bye-bye. Okay, Kung Si. Everybody. Yeah, you just hold your, okay, bye-bye.